our founding in 1985, Capalino and Company has helped businesses, both large and small, successfully compete in various sectors that are affected by New York City and New York State government. We are the premier problem solvers for small businesses that are looking to succeed and grow in New York due to our network of close working relationships with government agencies and elected officials, community boards, advocacy groups, and other stakeholders. We have a staff of 27 who have years of experience in the public and private sector. We have backgrounds ranging from city and state government to the hospitality, commercial real estate, industries, education, the arts, and entertainment. We're organized, the company is organized into 8 distinct practice groups, which is on that one sheet, that one-page sheet that you have with your packages. But what we do when we meet with a small business, we first try to dissect the problem, match that business to the correct staff members in our firm, and then create a comprehensive strategy to move forward to make sure that your business goals are in fact achieved. Our practice groups are agency resolution and permitting, land use and real estate services, community relations and community mobilization. We do corporate social responsibility, housing practice, legislative and political affairs, and minority and women business enterprises. It's interesting, I think, when you take a look at how you can solve a problem by contacting the government. It's a very interesting statistic. The 311 line that was established during the Bloomberg administration, you can call 311, but the customer service center gets an average of 57,000 calls per day. That I find to be just a staggering number. Similarly, the average city council member in their district office will get about 250 calls per week from constituents and small businesses. Yet the vast majority of the council members have only 1 or 2 staff people who are dedicated to constituent services. So while the agencies and elected officials try their best to respond to your needs, and they do succeed quite a bit, the reality is that you need to become the best advocate for yourself, and sometimes you need external resources that can be critical to ensuring the best results for your business. Small businesses come to our firm typically when they're faced with one of 4 issues. Whether if they find that there's a city policy that conflicts with their business goals, if they run into regulatory red tape, if they want to access the city as the buyer of goods and services, and also if they are a minority or women-owned business enterprise. So let me just give you a couple of examples of where we've had some success. The food truck industry. It's been rapidly growing and expanding in New York City, but until very recently, city policies were overwhelmingly biased toward brick and mortar restaurants, leaving little opportunities for the food trucks to legally operate and turn a profit. So we worked with their leadership. We organized and developed a professional association of food truck owners. We counseled them on how to focus on the relevant issues and identify attainable goals. From there, we helped shape policy. We worked with elected officials and city agencies, and we were able to improve both the public perception of that industry and to modify regulations to improve the business climate. There's an awful lot of uncertainty that faces small businesses, and we would like to commend the de Blasio administration, who through SBS has created new programs like the Business Acceleration Team. But businesses still will face red tape. Think, for example, of a restaurant. If you want to open a restaurant in New York City, you first have to find out whether the location you've chosen complies with zoning, whether you can have that use in a particular place. You then need to file architectural drawings with the buildings department and have them approved. You then need to go to the health department, the fire department, the Department of Consumer Affairs, and probably the State Liquor Authority, just to name a few. And within each one of these agencies, there are applications and administrative reviews. We have a long history of working with those agencies, and we're able to navigate this difficult regulatory environment. Let me give you an example. There's a well-known restaurant in Sheepshead Bay that discovered that certain private functions it was doing did not comply with zoning, because a restaurant is not the same thing as a catering hall for purposes of zoning. But since a large portion of their revenue would derive from events like wedding receptions, birthday parties, and religious-related festivities, they asked our firm to come in and try and help solve the problem. So we worked with the Department of City Planning to resolve conflicting zoning and permit issues. We arranged numerous presentations and meetings with elected officials and community leaders to secure their support. And by bringing these key players to the table, we were able to secure, for the restaurant, a special permit that would allow them to continue hosting events that were important to their community. Let me talk briefly about the city as consumer. City of New York, through the Department of Citywide Administrative Services, issues requests for proposals annually that total $1 billion. The Department of Design and Construction issues requests for proposals for construction of city-owned facilities, and individual city agencies also issue RFPs. It can be overwhelming sometimes to businesses, and probably one of the most frequently requested services is for us to comb through the weekly stack of RFPs and identify those that are not only lucrative, but realistic. Inexperienced businesses can waste months of time and thousands of dollars preparing an RFP response that they really have no likelihood of winning, either because they're too small or unqualified, or worse, because there have been changes to the process happening that they are unaware of. We try to match companies to the RFPs, finding partners when necessary to help them craft responses that can create winning bids. For example, we recently worked with a retailer who was interested in being the exclusive manufacturer and seller of items that bore the New York City official logo. They had to compete against several larger companies, but we helped them prepare an in-depth business plan, a financial analysis of the market, so that they could demonstrate to the city that not only could they meet the city's minimum requirements, that they would actually be able to exceed them. Ultimately, their proposal was successful because they identified the most important elements of the RFP through meetings with city officials that we helped broker, and they became the most appealing vendor for that particular RFP. I want to talk briefly about minority and women-owned businesses, and I know Commissioner Torres Springer spoke about that earlier. Various agencies have requirements for MWBEs, and the percentage of contracts or the percentage of dollar value of contracts that are scheduled to go to those types of businesses, it ranges from 3% to 25% depending on the type of project we're talking about. They're admirable goals, but the reality is that right now only about 4% of city contracts are going to MWBEs. One of our new practice groups, and our leader of that, Tanisha Walker, is here, has very, very specific help that we can give to those companies who either want to apply to become a certified MWBE or have applied and now need an appeal. We have also created partnerships between a general contractor and subcontractors when the general contractor needs or wants an MWBE. We can create a comprehensive strategy for businesses to network and market their services where there really is a growing demand for MWBEs. So whether your business has any one of those 4 problems or not, let me just leave you with a couple small pieces of advice. First, you should designate one particular employee to be your government affairs point person, or your ombudsman. By routing your efforts through one person, you'll be able to consolidate your business's relationships and experiences. It'll save you time and effort and money, because when you have one person dealing with the government, not only do they develop governmental problem-solving skills, more importantly, perhaps, they develop relationships with people in the government, and there's a human face attached to what they're trying to do. Secondly, you should get to know or join your business improvement district. In the city of New York, there currently are 72 business improvement districts that spend a total of $100 million annually. Each bid focuses on catalyzing economic development and supporting small businesses in different neighborhoods. If you join your bid, it's a way to preemptively ensure that you have relationships with other businesses in the area with whom you can create a strong coalition to ensure that your needs are heard. The third thing you could do, no matter how small you are, is you can create a corporate social responsibility program. The head of our CSR program, Jeannie Mulgrave, is here and happy to talk to you afterwards. You know, large corporations have entire CSR divisions. Small businesses more frequently rely on their neighbors' support, and they don't often have a formal procedure for giving back to their community. So if you're a local business and you're deeply involved in your community, that can be a double-edged sword, because while your business may be growing, you may have more and more people asking you for help, for donations, for all sorts of things, and sometimes it's hard to say no to those close friends and neighbors. But it's important to formalize and improve your process for sponsorships, donations, pro bono services, and partnerships with other nonprofits. Ultimately, the city is a challenging environment for small businesses, but it's not an impossible one. Capalino and Company is available to you for a free, no-obligation consultation. Some of our staff, in addition to Tanisha and Jeannie, are here. Our agency problem solver, Brooke Shaffrin, is here, and we'll be happy to talk to you. Our phone number is on the sheet that's in your package. Please give us a call if you think we can be helpful in your relations with New York City government. Thank you very much.